Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope everybody had a really good weekend. I had a yesterday I actually just chilled. Can I make a way right here? No. I need to hurry up and get out of the city. I am driving today for Lyft. I'm driving for Lyft, and now I'm on my way. I need to get the heck out of DC right now. I hate driving into DC, but the roads have been pretty good. Right now I'm on Capitol Hill. Let me let y'all look at it. Capitol Hill, just dropped somebody off, so I gotta get out and I gotta get back into Maryland. I cannot stand driving into the city. I swear I can't. So I had this one, I just dropped this lady off the Capitol Hill, but I had this one rider. She was very nice. She gets in the car with her daughter, and the baby looked like, I think she was probably, oh, I know I'm at now. I'm over here by the, what is this called? Isn't this the stadium? Yeah, it is. So she gets in the car, y'all, with her daughter, and I'm looking like, this baby need to be in, I'm like, you gonna put her in the seat? She was like, no, because I don't want her to fly. And I'm like, but the way she was holding her, I'm like, oh no, I can't ride down the road with that, because maybe taxi cab drivers can do that, but Lyft and Uber drivers, you can't do that, because they look at it like it's your car, your vehicle, and you gonna get the ticket. Oh, all I gotta do is go straight. I know where I'm at, I think all I gotta do is go straight. Yeah, so I told her I couldn't do that she has to and at first she was like, why? Because you know we do this all the time. I thought it was like, oh, this lady about to give me an attitude. But I asked her, I said, I have a car seat. My daughter's car seat is in the back. Can we put your daughter in the car seat? She was like, oh yeah, yes. I was grateful for that. So we put it in. But me and her had a really great conversation, because her baby's 2 years old, and we was talking about like potty training and all of that. And because right now I'm trying to potty train Symphony, but she's just like a little butterfly. I mean, she likes the simple fact that she's sitting down on something, but then she's just like, I'm out, and she goes running off into the mist. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't do anything. And so this young lady was trying to explain to me, you know, how you, what you need to do, like far as like potty training and stuff like that. Do I make a left right here? No, I keep going straight. Y'all, if y'all have never been in DC, this right here is, I don't even know what this is. Well, hold on, let me show y'all. This is with like the buildings and stuff. Like, they are building like crazy. I believe to my left is the baseball, the Nationals. I hope I'm going in the right direction. I should, because it says 495. Let's go up so y'all can see. Let's see where I'm at. Yep, that's right. It's I'm not sure if y'all can see it, but that's the baseball field or something like that. And they are building like crazy in DC. Like, everywhere you go, there's new buildings. Like this building right here. And there they got cranes and stuff out here, like DC. And I'm not sure if y'all saw my video, but over the weekend, DC was like really popping. It was, I mean, when I say popping, everybody was out that I was like, oh, I need to go in. But yeah, this light is low. Yes, I need to get on the Maryland side, because it's driving in DC. It frustrates me. It's just like light after light after light. So this morning I had a lot of people that was like I had a lot of people that was on their way to work, and on there were really mothers that was dropping their kids off to school. Y'all see the stadium? This is the stadium right here. I never been to a baseball game over here. But yeah. So, look at this building right here. I think they're still doing construction. So, yeah, so the young lady, she ended up being so cool to talk to because, you know, she was telling me, like, good morning, good morning. So, yeah, this is the stadium right here. You ever come in and... Oh, let me slow down because, y'all, you see these cameras right here? These freaking... That camera box right there got me a $200 daggone ticket. I'm from Washington. I'm from D.C. But, and I'm from D.C., but I was, like, raised in, like, Maryland. Now I stay in VA. I want to move to Florida. So, but yeah, so she was cool. She was teaching, I mean, she was showing me some pointers on how to potty train Symphony, because she said her daughter is 2, and I'm like, how do you do it? Because even with, like, doing Symphony's hair, it's like her attention span is just like, after a while, it's like, at one point in time, she never wanted me to touch her hair. It's like, and it's like, okay, Symphony, let mommy do your hair. She's pushing my hand away like, no. And then, like, when I would put barrettes on her hair, she would just take them out and just toss them into the mist. So, but she was showing me how to, like, 15 minutes a day, in the morning and the afternoon, to try to get them to sit on the potty. And I'm like, okay, well, Symphony, she likes her potty, but she will get up, she'll move, she'll take some crayons and start coloring all on her little potty. And and then I would think, like, maybe she's a little bit too young for potty training right now. But, you know, my cousin, like, her baby started when she was 1. So, yeah, so the lady, she ended up being very nice. Very, very nice. And there was this one lady, I dropped her off. This was her only baby, and she was dropping her off to elementary school, to a charter school in D.C., and she was talking about, you know, single parents. And I was just talking about single parents, and she was like, you got to do what you got to do. She said, I'm old school. This lady, like, 40 years old. And she was like, a lot of youngins these days, they just accept anybody. If he ain't working, he in there sitting, laying on the couch. She was like, I don't go for that. I was like, me neither. Okay, so it's saying that I got a bad connection. So I hope y'all can actually, see me. So right now I'm actually riding to get to, I'm driving to the Maryland side, so I can start from there and then continue on driving around. The only thing that I don't like about driving for Lyft and Uber, first of all, Lyft and Uber don't pay their drivers enough. I feel like Lyft and Uber drivers drive way more than taxi cab drivers and bus drivers. Bus drivers, they do the same route over and over again. A Lyft rider can go here, there, and there. I mean, in the DMV area. So you're in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. You can go all the way up to Pennsylvania to Baltimore. And I just think that, I know it's underpaid. That's why I'm just like, Lord, I'm praying for these other positions to come in. That's why I'm like, okay, I got to get out and start exercising, because I got to take this physical fitness test in the next 2 weeks. And so they time you on how fast you go, and I'm like, I haven't really been doing too much of anything. But yeah, like, and another thing too, like, far as Lyft drivers, you are in charge of other people's safety. So when you go to actually apply for it, they give you this little 1 hour class when you're going over certain stuff. But come on now, it's way more than that, and they don't pay any benefits or anything like that. You're not getting paid anything, and they take out 25%. So if you think you just made yourself $75, no, you didn't. And then you have to calculate too that you also paying for the fuel. So in a few minutes, I'm gonna have to go to the gas station. So that's $20 a day. if you drive on like my schedule. But if you constantly driving, you might be paying $40 a day. So it's not worth it. At the end of the day, it's just like whatever. So hopefully by the end of this week, and I keep saying this, I'll be turning this daggone bird in and be doing something else. You know, I got other phone calls about job offers and stuff. So at first I was like, no, but I'm like, I'm ready. I can't do this. You know, I think that if you decide to do Uber or Lyft to do a part-time, I would never tell anyone to do this full-time, because there's no full-time money. There's no full-time money at all in this. You know, at all. And then if you use your own car, you're putting a lot of wear and tear into your own vehicle. But if you rent a car from them, you're paying like almost $250 a week and get it a week. But if you meet like your riding quota, like for instance, they want you to drive for like, if you get 102 rides, not like 110 rides, they'll give you $200 to put towards your rental car. But come on now, let's be realistic. 110 rides. But y'all, since I've been driving for Lyft, which has only been a couple of months, I have drove over 800 people. I'm looking at it like I met 800 people. So again, it's a good way for me to give out flyers and stuff pertaining towards my business. But it's a lot with Lyft. Like, you have to maintain your car. You got to make sure it's clean on the inside. It smells good, because you want people to be comfortable when they get in. And then not only that, you are in charge of their safety. Lyft don't teach you all of that, but yet these drivers are doing way more than metro bus drivers and taxi cab drivers, because taxi cab drivers, they drive, but you're gonna pay them their money. So if you pay me to take you somewhere, you may pay like $5. Taxi cab driver gonna charge you what for that same route? Maybe $20, $25. So, you know, I'm like, nah, this is not my cup of tea. It is what it is. You know, you got to do what you got to. You got to bite the bullet in order to bring some money in, because you can't just sit on your tail and just be in fiddle your thumbs and be like, well, what's going to happen? So, I mean, it served its purpose, but I'm like, nope. My legs and stuff been like bothering me. And what I mean is, like, I haven't been moving around. I mean, when you're in a car for 8 hours straight, you know, and then when a week come and you look at your pay, like, where's it at? You know, like, you have to be real. You have to be logic. And so I'll be turning this daggone car in. But yeah, the last lady that I drove, she was pretty cool. She was giving me pointers and everything about like potty training and the things that you need to do. And y'all, today was so cold out here. Today was like, I mean it's so cold out here. Today it is cold. It's freezing out here. Windy and freezing. So this morning I'm up here trying to search for symphony hats. Like, where are your hats? My baby looked like the little Muffet baby. I had to put my hat on her and her little coat. Matter of fact, I'm on the way to go pick up her other coat, you know. And yeah, but it was like cold out here. I think we're gonna have a really cold winter. I really do. But yeah, y'all, so I hope everybody else had a good weekend. I told y'all, if some of y'all was looking at my driving this weekend, I had some characters. Like, everybody was just high. They was just doing their own thing. But, you know, each is own. Each is its own, should I say. And so, I cannot wait. Have y'all ever felt like, okay, so, question: if you could go back to tell yourself, like I said I was going to do this video, 35 things that I have learned, because I'm 35. What are some of the things that you learned that you wish you can go back in time and tell yourself? And I was thinking to myself, what are some of the things? I would have told myself this: stop investing in other people and start investing in you. Okay. I would also told myself, that's number one, I would also tell myself, no, always believe, always have faith, because a lot of the things I didn't go to or didn't go for because I guess I thought maybe I wasn't good enough for it or whatever. But no, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, go for it. Don't care what anybody say, just go for it. You know, there are the do's and the don'ts out here. The people who try and they succeed because they try. Also, I would tell myself, like, look, you in love with this dude right now, but trust and believe me, you gonna outgrow him and you're gonna be on a whole nother level. So, you know, stay focused. I guess I would have told myself to stay focused. Like, I mean, if you could go back in time, y'all, what would be, I mean, put it in a comment, like, what would be something that you would tell yourself, like what would you tell yourself what you know right now? I think another thing, this too shall pass. I did a lot of stressing at a very young age. At a very young age, I stressed. And I guess it dealt with, you know, when my mother was raising 4 children and we were trying to figure out how we were going to do this and do that. Even though my mother was holding it together, sometimes I can see her stress, you know, and I'm like, oh Lord, I hope we were able to make it here, make it there. So I guess I would have told myself not to stress that, you know, God is going to work it out. I guess if I could go back and tell my younger self something, what would I say? I remember when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, you know, we used to listen to like Lil' Kim and Foxy and all of that. So it was the thing to call each other B's and whatever B. And then when we got older, we was like, why are we calling each other B? So I would have told myself, and it was only amongst our friends, like that tight group. Nobody else was allowed to do that. I would have told myself, no, you are a young lady. Your name is Ramona. You are not equivalent. You're not going to compare yourself to a bitch. So you're not going to call yourself that. I would have told myself that. What else? What else would I have told my young self? That just because everyone else is doing it, don't do it. Period. Be your own leader. And it doesn't matter how much this person peer pressures you into it. Stick with your guns and just say, no, I'm not doing it. Also, if you get a bad premonition about something and you really like, I really don't want to go, but everybody else is begging you to go, and you're like, I really don't want to go. Because I had a bad premonition one time about going somewhere, and I decided to go, and I ended up letting another girl drive my car, and they ended up taking my car because where I was staying at, somebody snatched my tags. And I'm trying to explain to the police officer that, look, my tags, my car is good and everything. This police officer, she was so rude, talking about, boo, I make this much, I ain't got time for you. Well, needless to say, I ended up reporting her in, getting my car back, and they had to refund it. But I had a bad premonition of even going out that day. But I decided to go because of peer pressure. If I can go back in time, I would tell myself, when you get a gut feeling and not to do certain things, don't do it. Also, too, if I could go, y'all, you tell me if you could go back to your younger self, what would you tell your younger self now that you know now? I would have told myself to, certain people you don't need to hang around with. Like, I used to hang around with a whole bunch of females all the time. All of these girls with these different personalities. This one right here is a drunk. This one right here is a smoker. This one right here is, her lifestyle is crazy. This one right here always want to fight. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to be Miss Sweet Betty, you know. And when I look back at that, I'm like, I don't hang around it. I don't deal with it. I just don't. And they used to be like, oh, come on, Betty. No. If I could go back to tell my younger self something, I would have said, in your raps and your lyrics, you don't need to be, why are you rapping about this? Because this is not the truth. You know, I used to rap about, because I used to be in a rap group. We used to just rap about hits. And I remember this girl group we was in, we used to talk about killing and shooting, and we never did any of that. We never did any of that. And one day I remember I was walking in the house and I'm all singing the song, and the Lord spoke to me and was like, whose side are you on? And I was like, oh my gosh, I realized I am rapping about killing people. And I remember one of my raps, it was what is it? They said it was a homicide. What I said, merged straight through your vest, something through your chest. They said it was a homicide. I prefer a big mess, and blame it on the streets raised from the diss track. And when I realized the stuff that I was rapping about, it was pure evil. If I can go back in time, I would tell myself, your words have power, because right after that, my brother ended up being shot. And the way he got shot was the way my lyrics was. That bullet went straight through his shirt and went right into his chest. And I vowed when my brother passed away that I would never, ever rap about violence ever again. So if I could go back in time, I would say to myself that my words have power over them. It has life and death in them. And I would have took it that way. If I can go back in the time, I would tell myself to honor your mother and your father. For the longest time, I couldn't stand my father because he left us. I had a big grudge, and I was wilding out because my father wasn't there. And it was my brother. You want to go, bro? It was my brother who was like, Mona, you gotta honor your mother and your father. And I respected him for that, because although I was mad at my father, he was never really in my brother's life. I think I should have took wise counsel. I really wish. And that's another thing too. Me and my cousin, we talked about it, that when we were growing up, our mothers didn't, because they were so busy trying to keep a roof over our heads, they didn't have the time to really speak to us about to do certain things, like, and how we're supposed to carry ourselves and be around young boys and young men, you know, like how a man is supposed to treat you. I mean, when you don't have a man in the household, and my mother, she didn't bring men around us, and she wasn't dating because she was taking care of 4 children, you just didn't know. So when I was young, you know, in your early 20s, the people that we was listening to was Lil' Kim, was Lauryn Hill too, you know what I'm saying? So these are the women that was just like, yeah. But these type of women were get money, you know what I'm saying? Like, F a dude, get money, grind, and whoop, whoop, whoop. So I knew that I wanted my money and I wanted his money too. But I don't know, I looked at love in a different way, you know what I'm saying? So if I could go back in time and tell myself, I would have spoken to myself to say, look, that's not how it is. A man is supposed to treat you this way and that way. You know, it's not about always putting your guard up and always being this how can I say, this female warrior or whatever like that, just to gain his love and respect. It's not like that. And I remember when I first started dating my husband, and I remember one time, I don't know, we were saying something, and I guess I was trying to scare him in a way. I was like, yeah, you gonna meet my grandfather. He used to be a part of the Black Panthers. And I remember all that time, her husband was shaking like, oh man, and you know, he was just really like scared. And I said something, but I was playing, but he said something to me and was like, why would you say that? That really hurt my feelings. And I realized, oh my God, Mona, you sitting up here trying to front and hold up your guard and all this other stuff, and it's really being hurtful. Like, if I would have known, like, that's all it was, is just community. Like, women, we think that we're supposed to be this way, but no, that's not true. And just because every person that you came across or you dealt with or thought you was going to deal with hurt you does not mean that every man is like that. So I wish I would, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself, it's not like it, that you don't have to put up this guard. because not every man is like that. Not every boy is like that. If I could go back in time, I would say, Mona, I thank God that when I was in high school, I was a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader and I was a homecoming queen. But I thank God I was a cheerleader because I had coaches that really made sure that we was on top of everything. You couldn't cheer if you didn't have a good grade point average. And I remember one time, I was young, y'all. I remember one time I was in cheerleading practice, and I'm all, everybody's, cheering, and we practicing, and they told everybody to leave the gym, and it was like, Ramona, we want to speak to you. I'm thinking my coach is about to be like, you did a good job. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to be promoted or something. They was like, we saw that hickey on your neck, and you cannot have that hickey in this daggone cheerleading squad. Y'all, when I tell you these coaches scared the daylights out of me, it was a hickey. I didn't know they even saw it, but it was a hickey. And I'm telling you, I got chewed out. That when I went in front of the squad, they was like, what they say? I said, they chewed me out about my hickey and went off. And one of the other girls, she had a hickey on her neck that she was asking all of the squad, like, come on, I need somebody. She wanted us to scratch it to make it look like a scratch. That the whole time while we were practicing, she had this she had a t-shirt on her head and gonna wrap it around. And the whole time I'm wondering, how come they pulled me to the side? And when I tell you, they screamed at me, y'all. They scared the wits out of me. That it didn't matter. Yes, you cheered, but when it came to boys, when it came to out there dating or whatever like that, these coaches was not going for it at all. And if you wanted to keep your cheerleading outfit and your jacket, you had to maintain that grade point average, and you could not be looking like anything either. You could not be trying to, like one girl, I remember when we was doing a routine, she was supposed to be lifting me up in the air because I was a flyer. Some boys walked in and she decided that she wanted to show off. And she ended up dropping me. Well, guess what? They dropped her from the squad and was like, we don't need any hot tails like that up in here. We are a squad. So if I could go back in time, I could say that your body's a temple. Don't let some boy, kiss on your neck or whatever like that. That you have to be presentable when you go out here. I honestly, I wasn't even thinking nothing about it. But them coaches laid into me, and I was like, never again, never again. If I can go back in time, I would say that particular person that you're talking to, he's no good, because look at what he's in. Look. And honestly, I thank God, because I could have got caught up a lot of times because I'm sitting up here being with a bad boy. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody you like, oh, he a straight thug or whatever like that. Nah. If I can go back in time, I would say, Mona, he lied to you about his age. He lied to you about this. Stay away from it. Instead, I had to learn the hard way when I saw his wife and children walk in, and it was like, you really was lying. But guess what? All of the signs were there. Stop being in denial and just take it for what it is. Like now I'm old enough that I'm just like, what? You could tell me one time, I'm done. Back then it's fool me once. What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So no. So I wish I can go back. I mean, I know when I was younger, I started working at a very young age. Like my first real job at 14 years old, I was working at McDonald's. So I knew what money was, and my mother showed me how to open up a bank account and everything like that. She was trying to teach me. And I remember, because my mother, again, she had 4 of us, so after work, I would always bring all the hamburgers and french fries on home and stuff like that. And so I saw my mother and what she was dealing with, and and I worried a lot. I guess at that time too, I worried that maybe she would up and leave us like my father did. And so I guess I will go back and tell myself not to worry about that. That God is here. He's always going to be here. What else? I remember when I was young, I refused to believe in Jesus. Like, I was like, you can't tell me that I'm supposed to bow down to a man. And this man, I believe in God, but I don't believe in Jesus. You can't tell me. And I will argue everybody down. And it was one time when I was arguing with my father about it. And I was like, well, God and Jesus is not the same. And he was like, they are. And I'm like, how? And my father broke it down. Like, God sent a part of himself, his son. And he just broke the whole trilogy down to the point I was just like, wow. So I would say to myself, stop talking. Good morning. I love you too. I would say to myself, stop talking and just listen. Listen. That's all you got to do is listen. If I could go back, and again, y'all, if you just tuning in, if you can go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you say to yourself right now? Like, what would you say? If I can go back in time, I would tell myself to listen too, because I was a talker. I would talk so much that none of my friends, my folks would get upset. One time they had a talk with me and was like, Mona, you don't let nobody talk. And I was like, what they mean I don't let nobody talk? And I realized, I was like, yeah, I was a talker. And I thought I knew everything, and I was wrong as all get up. I was so wrong. And so if I could go back, I would tell myself, look, you need to shut up and listen. If I could go back in time, I would say, why you even in Baltimore running away from home? Sitting up here lying, saying you here, you need to be back. You know, if I could go back in time, I'd probably slap the crap out of myself. I probably would have beat myself up for real. Because I gave my parents the blues. And I think a lot of it was because when my mother decided that, you know, she had to get herself together, my father kept threatening her, like, I could take better care of them kids. You know what my mama did? I think I told y'all. We had to move so she can get herself together, because we ended up going way out Westminster in the hills somewhere. And so my father was like, yeah, I can take better care of the kids and this, that, and the third. My mother was like, oh, really? And, you know, it's 4 of us. So what she did, she wrote a note, right? She drove us all the way, an hour and a half away, all the way to D.C. We had our bags and everything. My father didn't know it, but we was going to stay with my father that day. It's not funny. So what my mother did, she knew where he stayed at. She knew where he was at. So when we pulled up in D.C., I'll never forget this. She picks up the phone. It's over there by, who is it? Is it Gibson Plaza? I forgot the name of it. She calls him on the phone, right? My father's like, hello. She hangs up the phone. And then she says, Mommy, love y'all. We like, we love you, Mommy. We crying and stuff. And we got our bags, right? We like, come on, y'all, come on. So we running down the hallway, all in the building. And so we all position, all 4 of my daddy's kids, we all position up. And we knock on the door, knock, 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 knock. My father opened up the door. He was like, hey. And I looked at my father and I just started busting out laughing, like, you know, because he looking at us like, hey, like, it's good to see my kids. And I'm looking like, we here to stay, Dad. And the whole time, he like, hey. He looked down the hallway and saw the bags and said, what's going on here? I saw, y'all, my mother, she had to get herself together, meaning she had to go get a job and try to find a better place for her children. And the only way she knew how to do that is that I'm going to drop all 4 of them off to my father, to their father, so she can get herself together. But that year and a half of being with my father was just the worst, because I was out of control. You know, it was like when you don't have that parent and that guidance there to tell you certain things, and you have a parent that lets you do anything just so you can get out of their face, then eventually it's going to lead you to drugs and alcohol. So if I could go back, I would tell myself, no, don't. You know, you're too young to be sipping or partying or in the streets. The first club I ever went to, I think I was 13, 14 years old. If I was young, I would have told myself, why don't you just chill, you know? I mean, we had fun back then, but I was too young for stuff like that. I was too young to try to take on, you know, running the streets and doing everything. So when my mother came back, I was already exposed to certain things. So if I could go back in time, I would have told myself to just chill, just, you know, stay in school and just focus. And I knew I wanted to graduate in the year of 2000. So I had to go to day school and night school because my entire middle school year was missing because my mother said we were homeschooling when we stayed in Westminster, because she refused for me to go to school with the white kids, and we were in Westminster, Maryland. And the reason why, because they were very prejudiced down there. And, you know, like, so a lot of people think that, oh, that stuff happened years ago. No, I remember being called a niggerette. Excuse my French, y'all, but yeah, they called me, this guy called me that. I said, you called me what? He called me a niggerette. And needless to say, when I left out of that store, all of those cans were all over the place. I shouldn't have kicked it, but yeah, I did. And I got the running, and they was chasing after me. It was just crazy stuff. When I was young, I would have said to myself, Mona, no matter what people call you, don't ever come out of character. So yeah, I would have told myself when I was younger to, you know, save yourself, you know, when I was younger, not to follow around this crowd. I remember one time we was performing with the Divas. This one girl wanted to go somewhere and fight these girls, and we was so drunk and high that, you know, that she drove. We just got finished performing. We just got finished rocking this show. Matter of fact, we had one show when we opened up for David Banner, but we just got finished rocking this daggone show, and then she want to go and fight some girls because of her friend. I was so drunk, I was in the back seat of the car there. This one girl was the smartest one out the group. You know what she did? She was like, take me home, I'm going home. But I was so drunk, by the time I woke up, they was like, Betty, here, somebody put a glass in my hand. And I said, okay, where we at? When we got up, as soon as I got out the car, I saw this big, I mean, this was a big girl, y'all. And back then, I was only 115, 120 pounds. Man, this big girl was coming down the stairs, like, she started pointing at me. And I was like, what? You know how you look and you see, like, this person just threatening to beat you. I'm like, what? So she went like this, y'all. I knew this big bruise. I knew she was going to whoop my tail. This girl was big. She was coming down the steps like this, like rolling up her arms, like coming down. I took that glass and I just threw it at her. She was still coming down. I took one heel off. I threw it. I said, I'm going to get my licks in, because she about to... This one right here, she about to try to beat the brakes off of me. So we out there rumbling and everything. We just rumbling. I know we all fighting these girls. They fighting us. And by the time we came to, now we in the car and those two girls are on the floor. And then one of my good friends, and we still friends to this day, she fixing her hair like, man, I can't do this, man. I got a kid. Like, how did we even get here? And now I'm all looking around like, how did we even get in this situation? And the main one who drove us over there, she like, Betty, where the keys at? I'm like, I don't know about no daggone keys. So they ended up, so she ended up finding the keys, and we ended up driving off. But I saw that lady was on the ground with her friend holding her, and I vowed to myself I would never be in a group like that, with a group of girls that'll take you somewhere to go into danger. Because my crew, the Smokettes, we the retired Smokettes now. We never was like that. We was chill back about partying. We was never about fighting and stuff. We was never about that. So if I could go back in, I would say, watch the company you keep, because it didn't matter. Every time we went out to perform, this lady, she always started fights. We just got finished rocking the show, and next thing you know, she want to fight because while she was holding the mic, she said somebody was looking underneath her dress, so she wanted to fight. We had one guy walked up and was like, can I get y'all autograph? And he wanted us to autograph his shirt. And she was like, I ain't doing that stupid sugar honey iced tea. And it was just like bad vibes all the way. Then we went somewhere else. When we went to one club, and one of the other girls that was in the group, she ended up flirting or trying to flirt with some girl. I didn't even know, because we were supposed to be in a cameo video shot. She flirting with some girl, but the girl didn't go that way and was like, look, I'm not lesbian. So she went ahead and threw water in the girl's face. Now they fighting. And I ended up getting up there about to be ready to fight because of the crew I'm with. So the police and everything pull up. We had to hurry up and jump in the car. She doing 80, putting the car in reverse. And we end up getting out there, but we shut the whole daggone club down because of you. And then it got back that all of the divas was lesbians because of you. So I just said, I can't do it no more. My old crew was like, Betty, what's going on? You ain't never been. I'm like, I can't. They looking at me like, yeah. And then one of my good friends, he was like, yeah, we not allowed to go in that club no more thanks to y'all. And we was so upset. I was so upset about it. So if I could go back into time, I would tell myself to don't be around drunks, alcoholics. Because I remember one time we was performing, I think it's when we did the David Banner. When we was performing, we had somebody who was scouting, and the lady walked up and was like, what are y'all doing? Y'all look good, y'all rocking shows, but y'all over here they over here smoking and drinking. And when she said that, I took heed and put my glass down, but the rest of them was just going off. And I remember the producer I was working with was telling me, Betty, I don't want you in that group anymore. And I remember I stayed with them for a little bit, and I ended up not dealing with that producer. But after that, when my brother died, I just told him I can't rap like this no more. So I changed my whole style and started doing something else. But if I can go back in time, I would tell myself, don't hang around people who's not on the same board with you, because eventually they're going to drag you down. That's how people go out here and get popped and get hurt. So you tell me, leave in the comment, if you can go back in time, what are the things that you would say to yourself? I would tell myself, Mona, you can do it. You can do it. Even when I didn't believe in myself, you can do it. And I did have a drive to stay focused and keep going on. And so even right now, like what I just went through a couple of years, if I could go back, like, girl, you got this, you can do it. This too gonna pass. Because a lot of things that make us afraid, our fear, that can deteriorate our health. So if I can go back in time, I would tell myself, like, look, stop, condition your mind. Condition your mind. Put God first. Stay away from the men are gonna be there, but stay away from them until you're ready. For the right one. And you tell me what you think. If you could go back in time, ladies, what would you tell yourself? But look, I gotta get back to work. I'm about to run up in this McDonald's real quick, and I'm gonna get back to work. So y'all have a blissful day today.